thanks for staying with us here on Daily Dose. Let's immediately go back live now to the Gaza border with our Emily Rose standing by for us. Emily, give us a sense now, perhaps, of what the military is doing, bracing for perhaps more rockets later tonight. We understand the Iron Dome missile defense systems are in place. What are residents having to say about the increase in violence?
Well, Jeff, we know here that the IDF is on high alert, ready for any such escalation that might rise. But this community behind me, they're trying to get back to their daily lives after the barrage of rockets that they felt very early into the hours of the morning, the last siren ringing out at about 5:30 a.m. I'm actually holding a remnant of one such rocket, and you can see in full this rocket was 107 millimeters in diameter, and pretty much what it was a barrage of pieces of shard metal that go every which way, and they cause damage in their wake. That's type of damage you can see behind me that is actually in the road, that dent in the road, and other cars that were in the surrounding area also felt such damage. And as we saw before, also to a home that was nearby. So you can see that these rockets, they caused damage. Thankfully today, they didn't cause damage to any civilians here, but if a person were to be standing here at that time, it would have certainly have been lethal. So again, these residents are trying to get back to their daily lives and their daily routines and trying to repair that damage left in the wake of that barrage.
Truly eye-opening video there of the damage left behind. Emily, stay with us. I want to bring into this conversation our defense correspondent, Daniel Tsemach. Daniel, you know, this is Hamas, or the Islamic Jihad, launching dozens of rockets. It's breaking with, in the recent past, there was a weeks-long truce of no rockets being launched. That's all changed. So what's the stop of thinking of dozens more tonight, dozens more in the days ahead? Are we barreling towards war now?
Well, what it seems like is that those factions within the Gaza Strip are really replying to a change, honestly, in the way that the IDF, the Israeli military, has been dealing with these kites, namely by conducting airstrikes after the fact. Yesterday, it was again, as we saw 3 days prior to today, Israeli Air Force conducting strikes, and then response was indeed another barrage of rockets, as was the case 2 days ago. And the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hamas seem to be saying that they won't accept that as retaliation to the arson of these kites and incendiary balloons, that they won't take the Israeli military's new tactic of really trying to deter them from flying these kites. But honestly, they don't seem to have a solution for that as of yet.
Let me bring back Emily into this conversation live for us along the border. Emily, what are residents telling you? I know you spoke with several children and their parents. The IDF struck back with in a series of airstrikes against dozens of targets. Are they satisfied with that response? Do they think it's just putting a temporary Band-Aid over a really serious and growing problem?
Yeah, I have to say we've been covering this for the past few weeks, and now it's going into months, in fact. And an air of despair has sort of washed over the citizens here. As we spoke to them over and over again, I asked, what do you think is coming up the pike? What do you think this will lead to? Do you see an end in sight? And for the most part, they said that no, they don't see an end in sight. In fact, they see, or they predict, further trickles of escalation and perhaps even a full-out war. So that's what the citizens see coming, though, of course, they hope for the best but are preparing for the worst.
Very quickly, Daniel.
Yeah, it seems as though the residents of this region are not only now experiencing the kites, but they're also experiencing the sirens. So they kind of have those two of worst worlds colliding, and that's why I think that what Emily's saying seems to be the case, as we've heard from many residents over the past several weeks.
All right.